if this is got to be there are several conditions that will be laid out by Vaishnavi and Anbu. This is better? Okay. So fewer than 5 questions, I don't get my ticket back. It hasn't been booked. 5 to 10, I go till Bangalore. And more than 10 questions, I get the full ticket to Mumbai. So please, I have to go back. I have 1 dog, 2 cats, and a wife waiting for me. So make sure you ask as many questions as possible. I've tried to make it as interactive as possible. There are 5 questions in the quiz. I forgot to buy some chocolates for you. Normally that's what I'll give you biscuits from there if you answer the questions right? Yes. What is KYC? So what is KYS?
Know your shit.
Know your shit. Anything else less radical? Know your secrets. Relevant to this evening?
Know yourself.
That is very relevant. That is very deep. But this is just know your speaker. I don't know what is happening in Chennai, but in Mumbai there is a gentleman called. When we go to a restaurant, we ask, has Munde been here? So because we say KYP, know your paneer. Is this paneer real or not real? So there is KYC, KYS. So that's the evolution. So I joined advertising in '83. I had lots of hair. Then you can see what happened in the middle, somewhere in '91, and then today. So that's been the journey. What is the point of this page? I'm a practitioner. I'm not an academician. I haven't been to any university. Whatever I've learned by interacting with people like you. I have this phrase that when one teaches, two learn. Well, I've taught at IMA, multiple IIMs, and I'm now been invited to be a guest lecturer at Ashoka University. So every time I go and meet multiple people, I learn from them. I learn from the clients. So the whole point is that I'm a self-taught brand practitioner. As Anbu pointed out, we have done 475 brands since 1999. We have 4 IPs. When TED came to India, how many of you are aware of TED? Yeah, okay, great, fantastic. So I was first speaker at the TED University. Then I was a TEDx speaker. Upgrad and Liverpool Business School tied up, and they had an MBA. In that MBA, there was a branding module. So I curated it and delivered that branding module. So if you are doing the MBA with the Liverpool Business School, you did those 7 modules, and then on a Saturday or a Sunday, they would call upon me to clear some doubts. Yeah. He's already pointed out that I was involved in this. I was the chairman of the committee. There is a committee that Nandan Nilekani had done. There were 5 of us in the committee. We were given a specific time to come up with the communication strategy. That strategy went online. Interesting fact, the name Aadhaar came from a farmer in Rajasthan. And we latched onto it because it is one of the few words that has the same meaning in Sanskrit and Tamil. There are very few words like that. So we got 2,500 logos from all over the world. My job was to shortlist it to 5. And then Nandan Nilekani and R.S. Sharma, they chose this particular one. This is one was done by a youngster in Pune. Yeah. This he's already mentioned. Those are the 3 books. I don't think besides the editor, anybody else has read these books. So if you are interested in literary fiction, please buy them. You should always support poor writers. This one, if you are interested, this is very interesting. I've written it like a thriller. You can download it. It's free. If you go to this chlorophyll website, there is a link to the books. You can download it and you can read it. It's lot of fun. There is no proof that the person in the circle is me, in the yellow circle. You just have to take my word for it. This is a rock outside between Mumbai and Pune, and this is the last 300 feet, and that's what I'm there for. But that was about 5 years ago. Currently, what we are doing is we had a very interesting, in 2016 and 17, we held the World Cup in bouldering in Navi Mumbai. And every 12 months, 8 cities bid, not nations, cities bid. And 16 and 17, we won that. And you know how Indians are, right? So we went to the airport with garlands and all that. So there were climbers who had come from 85 countries and they were ecstatic that they were received like that. They were voted, so those two were voted the best of that particular year of 2016 and 17. This was because the Tatas helped us. The Tata Trust gave us a lot of money. So we were feeling very happy until 2019. In 2019, the federation gave us a call and said, do you know what happened? We said, what happened? We thought it went off well. He said, yes, it went off so well that we were able to convince the Olympic Committee to include rock climbing in Olympics. So 2020 Olympics, which were held in 2021, rock climbing was one of the 3 disciplines. Rock climbing, surfing and skateboarding were introduced in the Olympics. Now from this year, from the whenever the next Olympics are held, there are 3 disciplines. First year, there was only 1 medal for all 3 disciplines. Now there are 3 medals for each discipline. So we're very, very happy about this. Then we got so charged up, arey yaar, we should do something more. So we begged, borrowed, stole. We bought 2 acres of land outside, 3 acres of land outside Mumbai. And we are building India's biggest wall. We have talked to the panchayats, we talked to the teachers, we talked to families. And we are going to train village children free of charge. And it takes 10 years to make a champion. And 2036 is when 90% chance that the Olympics will be in India, in Ahmedabad. So it is timed perfectly. If we start today, there is a very high chance that we can get a village child on the Olympic podium by 2036. Yes, it's difficult to pronounce. Thelpticopis Kiran Khalap. That's a long story, but that's how the spider has no resemblance to me. That the naming is for some other reason, but that's the spider there. Okay, I do a lot of pro bono work. There are 4, in fact there are 5 NGOs. These are all, I can tell you their stories. Together is for autistic children. Baithak teaches music and dance to village children. Protsahan looks after adolescent girls who have had traumas. And they treat them with art. So the method is called Heart, Healing with Art. Arpan is against child sexual abuse. And this is what I do to keep myself sane. Let's start with how many, y'all have any answers to what is a brand? Any textbook answer?
Identity.
Identity, one, good.
Idea.
Huh?
An idea.
Idea. This.
Product.
ये तो you're taken the fun out of my presentation. I already answer ही दे दिया इसने. Okay, ठीक है. What is a brand? Now the word brand means to burn. In 13 languages, Old Frisian, Old German, all of it, it came from burning cattle. So he said brand. If you have been to Germany, at the airport you will see brand written. That is not anything but the fire extinguishing words. This was, if you study Procter & Gamble, etc., this is what they say. The sum total of the perceptions in the mind of the consumer. This definition to us is completely out of date and not actionable at all. Because sum total of perceptions was very nice when you had a steady state market. Currently markets keep dramatically different. Earlier you thought of sum total of perceptions when you are selling a toothpaste, but when you are thinking about a corporate brand, it is not about customers. When you are thinking about a corporate brand, the government is a stakeholder, the competitor is a stakeholder, the distributor is a stakeholder, most important, employees are stakeholders. So this is not something which is outdated. So here's a quick quiz. Yeah? One biscuit for correct answer, no penalties for wrong answers. Okay? Okay. And also, these are the answers I'm going to show you are from the Guinness Book of World Records. Because if anybody says this, how long can a human being live without food? In India, the immediate answer is, in my village, there is a Swami who has survived on just sunlight for 70 years. That we don't want that answer. We want Guinness Book of World Records. So, any guesses?
43.
43? What?
43 days.
43 days, good. Somebody else said something?
40 days.
Huh?
40.
14. Who said 14? Okay. So you see what these answers are directly connected to how long you can be hungry. He can be hungry longer, so he says 43. He can't, so he says 14. Okay, let's see what the actual answer is. There's a guy called Angus Barbery. You can see how big he was earlier, and now we see what he has become. When he had put on so much weight, he went to the doctor and said, how to do? The doctor said, why don't you try fasting? Then 1 month later he went, he said, I'm feeling okay. He said, then you continue. And he continued 1 year, and finally this is the world record. Right. No penalties for wrong answers.
2 days.
2 days, okay?
5
Huh?
days.
5 days. This gentleman has held on to something. Okay? Record. 7. Okay, so the police arrested him and put him into a cell and forgot. Then 18 days later, his mother went that I have come to give a complaint that my son is missing. Oh my God, your son is not missing. He's in that cell. So they pulled him out and he had survived. This is totally shocking. 5 minutes.
1 month, sir.
29 minutes. This is incredible, right? And every time I make this presentation, I have to go online and check. Because the last time I made the presentation, it was 24 minutes. Now he's already made it 29 minutes. He's got undergone immense pain to be able to break this record. So you have to study, you have to work at it, you have to drop your metabolism, you have to inhale oxygen for half an hour before you start this. So oxygen is all through your muscles and all of that. That's a technique in itself. Okay, next.
100 years.
Huh?
100 years.
Correct. So the naughty answer is, I have a friend who has never had a thought. He just goes around spaced out. But the fact is that the answer is 0. Unless you do meditation for many years, you won't reach that stage. You normally, even in deep sleep, you are thinking, you are dreaming, all of that. So why am I telling you all of this? Right from childhood, we have had this idea that I should have a bungalow, a car, diamonds and things like that. But actually you can survive without tangibles much longer than without intangibles. You can't survive without thinking even for a second. But thinking is not tangible. You can't touch and feel it. It's happening inside your skull, right? Now, if you look at what is the idea that drives our lives, husband and wife and children, trust. Without trust, nothing happens. If you think about innovation comes from curiosity. I need to find out why such things happen. Do you know this was the first logo of Apple? It shows Newton sitting under a tree and apple falling on his head. Nationality, right? Have you heard of a guy called Cyrus Radcliffe? Has anybody heard? Yes. Cyrus Radcliffe had not visited India. He was given the job of dividing India and Pakistan. He drew a line on the map and announced that this is Pakistan, this is India. Now there is no line on the land. That line is on the map. But suddenly X number of million people said I am Indian and Y number of people said Pakistani. We had 2 million deaths and 12 million were displaced. I'm sorry about the typo there, displaced. So that is an idea. Nationality is an idea. It doesn't exist on the ground. Now, anybody here who is into finance? No?
I'm a fintech copywriter backwards.
Fintech copywriter, yes. Okay, yes, it works. Anybody who is into finance will turn around and say, Kiran, don't make a fool of us. All this intangible and all works only in personal life. In real life, there is return on capital employed. There is EBITDA. You must have heard those words. And there is so and so. That is untrue. And I'll tell you why. Digital technology has transformed the intangible into tangible influences that can be measured and monitored. This is a company called Ocean Tomo. It has been tracking the contribution of intangibles to market value of brands since 1975. And you can see 1975 on the one hand and 2015 on the other. It's completely reversed. 1975 is 17%, 2015 is 84%, in 2025 is 92%. If you are clever, you will turn on and say, Kiran, but this is only for Standard and Poor. So this is the American top 500 companies, but it will be applicable to India also, right? And the biggest example of this is Apple. Apple has a brand value over 1 trillion. It is the first ever brand in the history of humanity to have a brand value over 1 trillion because they have 95,500 patents. Out of it, 78,000 are still active. So the market is valuing them because they have something which is their patent. So if you have an Apple phone, your data doesn't go anywhere. I don't use an Apple phone, I use an Android. I'm very sure that whatever I use the phone for, a lot of it lands up at Facebook. The Apple. Now this is a patent that they have. That's why they're valued. Apple is valued. I recently attended, just a digression, a presentation on cybercrime. Cybercrime is the world's biggest criminal activity worth $6 trillion. And this gentleman was explaining to us that your phone has, how many algorithms do you think our phone has, a normal phone? 200, 300. The average number of things we use is 40 or 50. How many does the phone actually have? How many systems or things does the phone actually have? Quick guess. No biscuits for correct answer, wrong answer. 600, 1 lakh plus. We are using 40 to 50. The remaining are used by cyber criminals. So you can imagine what is happening. Okay. So as your name, sir? Hari Iyer. This is what he had already answered. So the brand is an idea. It's an idea that guides business. You decide that this is how I'm going to run my business. Have you heard of a brand called Amul? Amul says, I'm going to give the maximum money to the farmers. I'm going to charge minimum money to the customers, and whatever is left is my profit. They are already on record saying that there is no company on earth that can succeed in India as much as we have because our brand idea is so radical. Right? Okay. A brand idea can last long. How long do you think? How old is the world's oldest brand? Loudly. 3 years?
Japanese brands are much more.
Japanese brands are much longer.
196.
The oldest brand on earth is 1,400 years old. Congo Gumi. They build temples. They have been doing that from 578 AD. Chlorophyll was involved in one of the oldest brands on earth, which is 1,200 years old. It's called Eternal Mewad. This is Udaipur. How many of you like beer? Eki? Nobody else drinks beer? Ah. So how old do you think is the oldest beer brand?
1,000 years.
Yes, it is 1,000 years old. There's a brand called Wine Stefaner, which is 1,000 years old. So brands technically are immortal, unlike human beings, right? Now, let's look at the 4 eras of branding after the second quiz. One biscuit each. Which is this brand? This was created in 1953. Who answered? Who said James Bond? I'll have to live up to my word, boss. How did you find out?
Fact.
But here's the thing. 62 is when the first movie happened. Who was the actor? Sean Connery, right? Extreme left. Chain smoker, sexual adventurist, shaken not stirred, dry martini. Correct? How many he used to drink and how he shot after drinking so much martini, I have no clue. On the extreme right is Mr. Daniel Craig. No smoking, zero alcohol beer, weeps for his girlfriend. No womanizing. As society changed, James Bond had to change. And HIV and AIDS came, so no sexual adventurism. Younger people start looking down upon smoking, so no smoking. Younger people started looking down upon drinking. I was with Karthik, he brought me from the Cosmopolitan Club to here, and we were discussing what younger people do. That they, apparently, you all held some question answer quiz in some pub, and the pub guy, after 3 times, he said, I don't want to be involved in this because nobody's drinking. The youngsters are not drinking. So in Mumbai and Pune, youngsters have coffee and bhajan mornings in the morning from 6 to 8 instead of drinking in the evening. So that's, but this soundtrack hasn't changed since 1962. It's one of the most recognizable soundtracks in the world. James Bond has to be 37 years old. Why? Because he was a commander in the British Navy before he became a spy. And his number remains 007, which means he still has a license to kill. On the other hand, I told you about no smoking, etc. He now actually shows wounds. Sean Connery never had wounds, right? Sean Connery never ran faster than the villain. Daniel Craig runs. So all brands will have to have things that do not change and things that change, right? Let's go to the 4 eras. So era 1 is, please feel free to stop me in the middle and ask questions. Pre-digital, so maybe from antiquity. In India was famous for, and that time nations were brands. India was famous for silk. China was famous for something else, tea or whatever. So these are the 4 eras. Now let us see what these 4 eras are. In era 1, legal ownership was the same as psychological ownership. If Coca-Cola owned Coke as a brand, the psychological ownership also, and I'll show you how it shifted. The relationship between brand and consumer was unequal and one way. This is how it was. There were brand owners, whether companies or entrepreneurs or institutions, NGOs, religions, governments, nations. There were people like us, I don't know how many of you are from advertising agencies or consultants, who communicated what the brand stood for to consumers. I'm going to show you something from that era. This is considered the greatest commercial of that era.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives. In all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each will remain blooming, secure from the pests, obeying complicated force is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, but we ride them with their own courage. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Liked it? How many of you have heard of the novel 1984? Right, a lot of people. So 1984 was George Orwell's novel, which talked about a totalitarian state where the state looked at you through the television screen and controlled your life. So Apple said 1984 won't be like 1984 because I'm bringing Apple Macintosh. Anything particularly that you noticed in this commercial?
Everything was black and white except for the person coming in.
Beautiful. Everything was black and white. And there is a name for that, La Lumière Anglaise. Anybody, you know who directed this?
Shy.
Who said Ridley Scott? Correct. Very nice. Have you all watched Gladiator? Have you watched Blade Runner? Same chap, Ridley Scott. Anything else you notice? Anything else you notice?
She was a very famous printer.
Louder.
She was a very famous printer.
She is a very famous printer. There are other things. For instance, that entire dialogue was written by a sociologist because he wanted it to be so perfect. There is no product. It is a 1-minute film, but there is no product. You don't know how the Macintosh looks like. There is a fifth thing which is very unique. Anybody knows? Yes. It ran only once in the Super Bowl. That also by mistake the board forgot to tell them not to run it. But because it was so radical, it got run on television stations again and again and again. So they got close to 20-30 million of free publicity. But look at what it did. No product shown, and you have sold 72,000 units in the first 100 days. Right, so this is from that era 1, where I am able to talk to the consumer. The consumer is not able to talk back, but what has she done? She has gone out and bought the consumer. Okay. Which year is this? Biscuit number 2 coming.
July 83,
83 is close.
Rocky was 86,
87.
Very close.
Afghan Girl was 89,
So 1991,
This is the zone. Half biscuit I can It's 85, and it's critical that in 1985 we got a glimpse of what is going to happen in 2004, right? What is going to happen? In 1985, Robert Gozita and Donald Kegg launched the new Coke. They were scared that younger people were liked Pepsi more. So they had done blind tests. Do you know how a blind test is done? So there are two glasses. It says A and it says B, right? And the guy comes, closes his eyes, takes the other one, and then they say, do you like A or B? And then he says A or B. Now I know from the CEO of Pepsi India that in 60% of the cases in blind tests, people can't tell the difference between Coke and Sprite, not Coke and Pepsi, because there is no color, it's hidden, right? Second is that the best taste of Coke or any cold drink is at 4 degrees centigrade. The drink has to be at 4 degrees centigrade. When you drink that at 4 degrees centigrade, you really can't. But somehow they said ki 1000. What happened? They got 27,000. Remember, there was no email, there was no. Got 27,000 calls per day. They got 12,000 faxes. And US being US, they created a society for the real thing. There were youngsters who went to the supermarket and bought old Coke and hoarded it at home because they said, hey, this will become very valuable. What did the phone call say? What did the fax say? It said, how dare you spoil the taste of my Coke? So the first time in the history of marketing, the customer was saying, I own that taste. And you, the legal owner, can't change it. It ended well for Coke because they got back classic Coke and then they had shelf space for this new Coke as well as classic Coke. But this is something that the psychological ownership is shared by all stakeholders in era 2. So this is how it was pre-digital. And then in 2004, what happened in 2004? Facebook got its first million subscribers. So we at Chlorophyll take 2004 as the starting point of social media, right? And how many of you buy from Amazon? Everybody, right? What is the first thing we do? We go and read the reviews. We want to know what others are saying about that particular brand. You want to go to a restaurant, you want to, what is the name of this cafe? Sorted. I want to go to Sorted. First, you'll go to Swiggy or Zomato and see what others are saying about Sorted. YouTube alone has 75,000 channels. Each one of them has a base of 1 lakh each. You know this gentleman? How many people does he reach? 274 million alone. Sometimes his wife is there, but basically it is his hand, right? This is 9 times larger than the combined physical sale of every major daily newspaper in the country. So if you take TV channels, they are higher, but there is not one single TV channel. If you take all TV channels, it comes to about 504 million. But very soon, even that will be taken over by internet. So this is allowed for the first time in the history of marketing, advertising, branding. It allowed every single stakeholder to talk back. How many of you have heard of this brand? On the left, what does that packaging say? What does it say? Fresh orange juice. This is what moms gave their children, that it is like drinking fresh. They change the packaging to the right. What does the packaging on the right say? It's put in a glass, it's like, champagne, it's not fresh. This is what has happened. They lost $30 million in 2 months. Everybody wrote back saying, I'm not buying it anymore. So this is one stakeholder, customer.
So is there something to be said about
Loudly.
the font as well, the typography, sorry, the typography.
See, the typography, nothing in packaging works in isolation. It is a combined effect. So does the Tropicana go with the circular form of the orange? That is how it's done. And if you look at the right hand side, it has no meaning, correct? I don't know if you have heard of this woman, Amy Dominic. Instead of customers, she went to shareholders. So I own shares in Apple. I own shares in Unilever. I own shares in Procter & Gamble. She put them all together and said, if that company is not behaving itself, I will go and represent you to them. I don't know if it is true, but the story is that the Apple factories in China there were 6 or 7 story talls, and outside the first story, there were huge nets. Why? Because people were committing suicide. They were working for so long with so little pay that they were giving up their lives, therefore they had put nets. She took the shareholders and went and told, if you don't stop that, we are pulling out all our shares. So suddenly the stakeholder is not just customer, it is also the shareholder. Employees. If you go to the Nike office, there are various buildings named after famous players. One building was named after a coach, a famous coach called Alberto Salazar. He got caught in a Me Too. You all know what is Me Too, right? The entire revolution about sexual harassment. So the employees came to the CEO and said, we are very sorry, we will not work in a building named after Alberto Salazar. Initially he said no. At the end of 7 days, he gave up and changed the name of that building. So now employees are protesting against their own brand. Activists. Anybody knows this one? Unilever, Hindustan Lever had a thermometer factory in Kodaikanal, which they shut down in 2001 because they didn't know how to clean up the mercury. The activists told them that you have to find ways, and they didn't listen. There is an organization called Jhatka. I don't know if you've heard about it. They asked this girl, Sophia Ashraf, she's a rap singer, to create a rap song in 2015. She wrote that song, youngsters acted in that song, in that rap song, and that went viral. It went all over the world. It went to Hollywood, for everything. And they were shocked. They all wrote to their chairman, I think Polman, saying, you are saying Unilever stands for sustainability, and here there are 30 people who have died of mercury poisoning. How are these two compatible? So after 15 years, Hindustan Lever went and paid all the people who are affected money for medicine, for surgery, for all of that. So an activist, a girl who is unconnected to Hindustan Lever, has changed how Hindustan Lever behaves. Society. This is Philadelphia. 2 black men were sitting in a Starbucks cafe. They sat there for 15 minutes. After the 15th minute, one of them got up to use the washroom. One waiter believed that he was up to no good, so he called the police. The police put them in handcuffs and were taking them out. When the third black person arrived and he said, why are you taking them? They said, because we got a complaint. But he said that I was the one they were waiting for. He said, no, we arrested, they put him in prison. This entire thing was recorded by a young girl on her phone and was put onto Twitter. All hell broke loose, right? 3 days later, they had to shut down 8,000 stores. 8,000 stores, 175,000 employees. They shut down the stores and trained everybody to be sensitive to black people. One day training cost 16.7 million, 16 million in negative press, develop and deliver the training itself, and we don't know how much they paid those two people. So Ration Nelson and Dante Robinson are the two guys who were taken to prison, and Starbucks paid them for all their negative publicity. One waiter who's insensitive to race has cost them close to 50 or 60 million. How much is that in rupees? Some 600 crores or whatever, right? So that is the whole point, that today the brand will be under attack from every single stakeholder. If you think this is shocking, this is 2018. Just 2 months ago, Starbucks repeated this in Seoul, Korea. So they launched I forget the name of that cup. There is a tank brigade or some such thing, a cup which was for the day on which a tank had attacked somebody in South Korea. Now, unfortunately, it was associated with North Korea's regime on South Korea. They sacked the CEO, they shut down the office, the police raided their head office. One CEO's error has cost that brand so many $1 million.
Was that due to AI by any chance?
Sorry?
Was that, did they do their research based on AI and
No. The Starbucks was run by a private company in Seoul. They had a brainstorming session and they came up with this idea that it is a historic event, that tank day or whatever it was called. But the association was not about winning, the association was about 200 people were killed. So immediately it flared up and they had to go, first they sacked the CEO for doing this. Then they had to go and apologize to the 200 people who had been killed, all of that. Now, if you are the brand owner, this is scary, right? The customer is against you, the shareholder is against you, society is against you, activist is against you. What do you do? What is your answer?
There are expenses where brands, for example, unit corporate everyday.
Sorry?
Unit corporate everyday. Still survives.
It still survives. Correct. We don't have sharp enough laws. So, sorry? Shall I?
If people say your dreams are crazy, if they laugh at what you think you can do, good. Stay that way. Because what non-believers fail to understand is that calling a dream crazy is not an insult. It's a compliment. Don't try to be the fastest runner in your school or the fastest in the world. Be the fastest ever. Don't picture yourself wearing OBJ's jersey. Picture OBJ wearing yours. Don't settle for homecoming queen or linebacker. Do both. Lose 120 pounds and become an Ironman after beating a brain tumor. Don't believe you have to be like anybody to be somebody. If you're born a refugee, don't let it stop you from playing soccer for the national team at age 16. Don't become the best basketball player on the planet. Be bigger than basketball. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. When they talk about the greatest team in the history of the sport, make sure it's your team. If you have only one hand, don't just watch football. player at the highest level. And if you're a girl from Compton, don't just become a tennis player. Become the greatest athlete ever. Yeah, that's more like it. So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
Anybody recognizes that man with the big afro? So this was the outdoor. You saw the television commercial, right? This divided the US. His name is Joel Kaepernick. During a football match, he knelt down when the American anthem was playing and put his fist up to say or to protest against what was happening to blacks. There were some attacks on blacks that had happened. He was thrown out of the American Football League. He was thrown out of his club. Nobody hired him. 3 years later, Nike put him in this ad. That's what it's saying, that unless you lost something, you don't know what it means to lose something. Half of America burnt Nike shoes, including a famous gentleman called Donald Trump. But there were an equal number of Americans who said, no, they are right, Nike is right. So there was tremendous pressure on Nike to take that commercial out, and they said no. This is what we believe in. So when I'm asking you the question, what should the brand do? If the brand believes in itself, it should carry on doing what it is doing. But look at, while Nike didn't do it to win market share, this is what happened. They got 6 billion extra rupees market cap because they believed in Kaepernick. Era 3. So era 3 is post-COVID. What happened because of COVID? We all been through it. What happened to us because of COVID?
We are all at home.
Correct. We were all at home. Sorry? Addicted to digital. Very good. 3.
We got mad.
We got mad. Yeah. When you sat at home, for the first time when you're watching all of it, you realized we had heard of this word called global village, that we are a global village and things are global. But then for the first time, out of the 195 countries registered on UN, there were 4 countries which did not have COVID. The remaining 191, everybody in those 191 countries realized that we are a really global community. One little village somewhere in China has destroyed my life. I couldn't drink Old Monk, which is what I drink every day. There wasn't available, and nothing there. Can't eat my favorite food, can't go to the office. So you realize that if I don't do things that the earth needs, I'm going to have a problem. So that's the first lesson. And if you look at the graphs of brands from there, those that care for the earth are growing much faster. There is a problem in the sound. It is not playing through the TV. I don't know if there is a sound thing here. There isn't. But I will translate this commercial for you.
Come on, they're coming out! I can see Polaris already! See that bright one right there!
Right.
About
That one.
Oh, that's Jupiter! It's a big plane!
That's right. What about those 3 over there?
That's easy, that's Roswell!
That's
The Big Dipper!
yeah.
Who does that one? There's a little blue one right there. It's hers.
Did you get the story? Anybody?
They're Mars friendly.
They are in Mars, and the grandfather is showing that little girl that that's Earth. Anything else you notice about this commercial?
The expression was very good.
Sorry?
The expression.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it signed SpaceX, but this commercial wasn't made by SpaceX. This commercial was made by a fan of SpaceX. Right? So that's the last era. You are so turned on by a company that wants to go to Mars that you are putting time and money to make a commercial about that brand.
user-made commercials.
Sorry?
User-made videos, they say.
Yeah, user generated content, UGC. So earlier we saw brand owner, facilitator, customer. Now the customer is the earth. The customer is the future of the earth, right? And therefore you got these mega trends happening. Sustainability, purpose, transparency, equality, safety. First one, chlorophyll quiz number 5. What car is this? Rolls Royce. This was bought by some Maharaja and then converted into a garbage car because they insulted him. What do you think they have been making since 2017? What does Rolls Royce make? Sorry?
Aircraft.
Engines and weapons and 3 full biscuits if you answer that question. Look at him. It's making honey. So what happened is that they had 42 acres of land and there was a roof on 10 acres, and this is perfect for bees. And UK had a bee crisis and Rolls-Royce said, I must do something about this crisis to help UK. Therefore they planted plants which attracted bees, and many bees came, and each of those stations where the honeybees come are named after famous Rolls-Royce cars, Wraith and White Phantom and whatever those names are. And bees being bees, they made honey. Now what do you do with that honey? So they don't sell it. Everybody who buys a Rolls-Royce is given Rolls-Royce honey. But why are they doing it? Because sustainability. Because they want UK to survive. Without bees, there will be no crops. Without bees, there will be no fruit. Adidas had a competitor. This is a sad story because it stopped doing this, but when it did it, it was mind-blowing. Does anybody know the name of this? Reebok? It's very niche, so you may not know it. There is a company called All Birds in Australia. They make shoes out of wool or crushed shells completely. the carbon footprint of that rest of the world, the carbon footprint will be 8 or 9. This is 2, because unfortunately the company got sold out and they don't make it any longer. But if you have a Allbirds shoe, it will be worth many $1,000 because people are eager to buy it. Purpose. I can show you data after data that younger people will always look for a company that has purpose. So I'm going to show you an example from 2012. Isn't it absolutely brilliant? So one of the things that happened because of social media is that customers started saying that I understand that you make good blades with Gillette, that you make good Pampers, that you make good. What do you stand for? You, the company that owns this brand. So Unilever said sustainability and you saw what happened. But Procter & Gamble did one very clever thing. They said we sponsor moms and then released this on Mother's Day. But they didn't just do a commercial. All the moms of all the American athletes, because P&G is an American company, that went to the London Olympics in 2012 were taken to London. Because we are proud to sponsor the moms. This altered, I don't know whether I have that slide. Yeah. It got them $100 million of extra money. But the big thing that happened was because all the employees sense that build of purpose, their pride went up, their stock market went up, and employees' attrition rates fell. So one single commercial talking about proud sponsor of moms. So that is the purpose. This is what I was talking about, this huge generation Gen Z and millennial survey which says what we want is money, but we also want meaning, well-being, and at the crossroad of that is happiness. Transparency. Have you heard the phrase radical transparency? Anybody know?
Is it Ray Dalio?
Sorry?
Is it that phrase was coined by Ray Dalio?
Absolutely. Wonderful choice.
I have the book.
I know, but I have to give you the best. So Ray Dalio's, what is this company? I forget the company name. It is the biggest investment company. By radical transparency, he meant
Bridgewater.
Bridgewater. If you were in that company and if you did an error, then that error was told to all employees. If he made an error, that error was told to all companies. All employees knew what every other employee salary was. So this company called Everlane said, we practice radical transparency. How? This is their website. Okay? For this, let's say a cashmere crew t-shirt, the material cost $18, labor cost $29, transport cost $1.47, duties is $4.745. So the total cost, real cost is $54. The price you pay is $168. The profit, the traditional price is $270. So the company Everlane makes $168 minus $54. Even though their cost is lower than anybody else's, correct? So everybody loved this. They said, this is a company. All Hollywood started buying this. Until New York Times reached there, did an analysis and said, none of this is true. This transparency, the only good thing about Everlane is the marketing. There is nothing else that is true. So, but equality. This is a map of the world according to gender equality. The darker the map, the lower the inequality. We are at 0.65, third from the left. Iceland, Scandinavia, those are all dark green. So there is a lot of ground that we have to cover. Last is safety. One of the things that happened because of COVID is everybody became aware of everything that was unsafe. Food, the things we put on our faces, the things we put in our mouth. So there is a lot of studies about what is safe. Now comes post-AI. This is era 4. Last quiz question. Huh? Who Naidu? No, that's good thinking, but he's called the new Edison. Since 1990, he has made 147 documented predictions about technology with 86%. iPhone was launched in 2012. He predicted it in 1990. Before the internet came and became big in 2004, he predicted it in 1985. Okay? So here's what he's predicting for 2029 is a consistent date I have predicted for when an AI will pass a valid Turing test and therefore achieve human levels of intelligence. Do you know what a Turing test is? Have you heard the phrase CAPTCHA? CAPTCHA? You do CAPTCHA? That T in CAPTCHA stands for Turing. The Turing test was devised to detect whether the respondent is a human being or a machine. So he's saying by 2029, they would have already finished this difference. In fact, even today, there are AI agents which have done this. When the Turing test came up, they told the machine that I'm blind, so I can't do the Turing test. So they gave them another Turing test, which they passed. So, in 2029, how many of you wear detectable things on your wrist? You all wear, right? You want your blood pressure, your glucose, your muscle tone, everything is there. You will very soon have something inserted in your body which will detect everything. that thing will speak directly to your phone or to your fridge. The doctor has told you that for whatever condition you have, you must drink cranberry juice. The cranberry juice is in the fridge, which has IoT, Internet of Things. That cranberry juice dibba, when you keep inside the fridge, it's light. Therefore, the fridge tells the phone that cranberry juice is running out. The phone goes online and scans all the cranberry juices. There is something called the wisdom of the back of pack. So instead of looking at the front and looking at the brand, it turns it around and sees what is behind the pack. And then it goes and orders it. Where is the brand? I know, but I'm saying my job is at stake, right? I'm a brand consultant. A brand hai nahi, because that AI is going to do all the work for the brand. So this is the fourth era of branding. AI will do most of the thinking for most of us. So it is the product which will become the hero all over again. That's a prediction. I may not be around to see whether it will be true, but it's time for you to ask questions. Remember, less than 5 questions, I don't get to go home. 2 cats, 1 dog and 1 wife are waiting. 5 to 10 questions, I go till Bangalore. And more than 10 questions, where is Anbu? Where is Anbu?
Who's the guy who made the prediction?
Huh?
What's the name of the person who made that prediction of the 86%?
Ray Kurzweil. Sorry, I didn't put his name. Ray Kurzweil. Sorry, huh?
Is he Indian, sir?
No. He's an American. Just let me get some water. You all can take the mic if you want to ask questions. Just give the mic to whoever.
Good evening.
He has also made a prediction that by 2035, if you survive till 2035, I'm trying my best, you will live for 120 years, because there will be enough machines and things that will make you immortal. So if you look at what he does, he changes his blood twice every week.
Fantabulous presentation. Deep insight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just my age.
So, your age?
It's because of my age, I said.
Oh. Okay. So my question: what is the impact of branding over the competition, which present business face, especially in food and beverage?
In
anything, yeah. So what is the impact?
It makes
How
you.
it can help you so that we can learn.
So if you look at how brands are valuated, why would you? Vodafone bought. It is the largest buying out in the history of branding. Vodafone bought a company called Mannesmann AG in Germany. It's 180,000 crores or something, some obscene figure which I don't even remember. It's that big. Why are they paying that money for this brand? What is it? What will that? I own Vodafone, and then I go and see there is this brand called Mannesmann, which is X number of. Actually, there were 2 companies they could buy in Europe. They could buy Orange or they could buy Mannesmann. Orange had more subscribers than Mannesmann. So why did they buy this? What is the logic of buying another company? In very simple terms, it's not complicated. What is the hope that you have when you buy this company?
They have customers.
Perfect. And they have customers who will continue to be customers and who will therefore keep giving you revenue for the next 10 years. One of the greatest examples of a brand changing its brand name and not losing customers is in India. There's a company called Max Touch, became Orange, became something, became Vodafone, now has become Vodafone Idea. There was Hutch in the middle. But what is called as ARPU, average revenue per user of Vodafone Vodafone Idea, is still the highest in Mumbai. It's changed its brand name. What is happening? What is happening is that the people who are their customers remain their customers. So there is a guarantee that I will have a flow of revenue for the next 10-15 years. That is what you're buying. That is what a brand does. A brand has two fruits. One is loyalty and the other is price premium. Have you heard of a brand called Fevicol? Does anybody here, ask your carpenter, ask anybody, how is Fevicol superior to anything else in the market? The answer is zero. No carpenter knows whether it, but it is distinctive. When I ask you, think of a wood adhesive, what is the first answer that Fevicol? So all of us in our head have a ladder. There is a ladder of 3. What car do you have? Yes. If you had unlimited money, which car would you buy? Quickly.
Rolls-Royce.
Correct. It's fixed. You don't have to think. That ladder is there. If there is somebody who's more, maybe he will say Aventador, Lamborghini Aventador kharidne ka hai. There is a list in his head. There is a list in your head. Even though you currently can't afford it, even though currently you can't buy it, that is what a brand does.
Awesome.
There is a beautiful commercial for Porsche. There is a school boy and he's obsessed with cars. He keeps, and the school teacher keeps saying, "Arey yaar, pay some attention to this." And then finally he reaches the Porsche showroom and he's touching these cars very lovingly and all. And that salesman, he's smiling and he goes to the salesman and says, "Sir, give me your visiting card." So he takes it and he smiles and says, "What will you do with the visiting card?" He said, "I'll see you in 20 years. He has decided then that this is what he's going to buy. That is what a brand will do. Coca-Cola doesn't have big market share in India. It doesn't charge a premium. But it has bought Thumbs Up because Thumbs Up is guaranteed to retain market share. It has loyal customers. Even today, Thumbs Up is still the higher than Coke and Pepsi, if I remember right. That's what brand does.
So I come from a B2B background.
How? B2B?
B2B. So I've worked across startups, scale-ups, SMBs and enterprises. And one common phenomenon that I see with startups and scale-ups is, it's a classic example of a chicken and egg story, wherein you have the founding leadership that tells you, bring me 4 or 5 great brands, and then I'll be able to market my product, my service with these 4 or 5 brands and then make more revenues. And on the other side, you have this fund of exploring ways to kind of grow your brand story, go to universities, go to colleges, go to companies, sell your product for free, do the brand building, do all the founding leadership activities. Slowly, you get to kind of make your brand more visible, which will then obviously bring you more customers. So, these are two contradicting philosophies.
The first one I didn't understand.
The first one is, do something and get me 2-3 good brands. I'll be able to kind of market my stuff using these 2 brands.
No, who is saying this, that get me 2 brands?
This comes from the leadership.
Huh?
This comes from the leadership.
So this leadership is saying, get me 2 brands, meaning what 2 brands?
So, get me 2 good customers.
2 customers?
Yeah. So I will then be able to market my products and services using these 2 good
for
customers.
the B2B.
B2B.
Correct.
And on the other side, you have the ideal approach of kind of doing all it takes to grow your brand, which will involve more cost and more time. You need to be patient.
Yes.
But eventually they will bring you loads and loads of customers. So how do you kind of deal with this scenario, which according to you is the best scenario?
To what is common to both. First, the marketing of B2B is now very similar to B2C. There is one word which describes the dilemma of both, and that one word is discoverability. Will you be discovered? Because all of the discovery happens where? Online. Whether B2C or whether B2B, the first thing, do I have time to play one more commercial? Yeah, okay, let me just show. Because it answers your question very well. Let's hope this plays. Yeah.
I don't know who you are. I don't know your company. I don't know your company's product. I don't know what your company stands for. I don't know your company's customers. I don't know your company's record. I don't know your company's reputation. Now, what was it you wanted to sell me?
This was a 1958 ad, print ad. Now see what it is.
Yeah, John, I'm looking for him on LinkedIn. I don't see him anywhere. Let me put you on hold. He's on the other line. Yeah, so I got your proposal, but I don't know who you are. Gotta put you on hold. Be right back. John, you find anything more on these guys? Really? Okay. Later. Yeah, so as I was saying, I got your proposal, but I don't really know your company. I didn't see much about you on Google. Your website is totally thin. I looked for you on LinkedIn, no luck. But someone in my online community seems to think of you as a third-tier player. And I see an ex-employee out there is doing some pretty nasty blogging about your CEO. Now, what was it you wanted to sell me?
There is a University of Adelaide and LinkedIn. I can send you the links if you want, which explains the problem with B2B marketing. B2B marketers focus on 5% of the market because it's easy, because you know that all these people, whether you are selling a huge air conditioning machine or you're selling a tractor or whatever, there is this 5% who have showed interest, so you go with performance marketing to them. 95% is unaddressed, but your future is in that 95%. So the theory is that you should be famous amongst the 95% and be in that ladder. 1, 2, 3. Today he is not buying. Tomorrow when he wants to buy, the first name that should come should be yours. Without that discoverability, there is no brand hope.
Thank you, sir. So that's exactly the challenge, because these days, the founding leadership, they are not willing to invest in the time with all the AI agents around.
It is fine. So when you mention the word brand, the first thing you have to tell somebody is that you are investing in an asset which will never depreciate. It will only appreciate. I'll give you a simple example. There is a company that makes vans. And they said, all this brand and all you're telling me, it's of no use. I created an electric van which is much better than this van of mine, and nobody is buying it. I said, how much does this van cost? He said 20 lakh. How much does that new van cost, which is electric van? And he's done it. Whatever, there is something called homologging, which means you check whether it is roadworthy. He's done that, and it's 60 lakhs. So I said, but sir, the person who needs this 60 lakh van doesn't know you exist. There will be hundreds of 5-star resorts which would love to have these vans which are electric, which make no sound. They have not heard about you. You are talking about Chennai, in Bangalore. I keep giving and I keep telling the owners, they make CNC machines. There's a company in Bangalore. Who do you think they sell it to? They sell it to China because they are better than Chinese machines and cheaper. Who has heard about them? Forget us. Within 1 kilometer of their factory, nobody has heard about them. Opposite them is ISRO. They do 3D printing for ISRO. That stuff has gone to the Mars. Who has heard about them? And when I ask them, they say, we are South Indians. We don't want to thump our chest. I said, don't thump your chest. Can we let people at least know you exist?
Thank you.
Anbu kidhar hai, Anbu?
One more last question.
No, don't say last, boss. That's why, Anbu, long questions will get double the... Yeah. Okay.
See, you will rate the B2C brand like Bata.
Like?
Bata, which is known as when you want to buy a shoe,
Bata.
the brand recall will be the Bata. And it's available everywhere. But still they are at the loss. Why? What made them to not able to catch up the younger generation?
So, you know which country Bata is from? Czechoslovakia. So they are famous for what? They are famous for what is called as localization. They don't come and sell shoes like Nike does. Bata goes to a country, sets up a factory, sets up hospitals, sets up schools, sets up living spaces. That is how they have grown. Every time you see, that is why I was telling you about Weihenstephaner. How can you have a 1,000-year-old beer still relevant? Correct? What do you think they would have to do? What has changed in beer? Beer is beer. What has changed? Earlier you used to get bottles, now you need cans. So if you do not adapt, who are the buyers who want to buy Bata kind of shoes? If you cannot adapt to that, if you are not relevant to new consumers, you will be at a loss. What did Nokia do? Even good companies like Samsung, when that clamshell phone came, they didn't invest in it, they lost it. You have to prove yourself every year, not every 10 years, with products that match your philosophy and match the relevance of the new segment. In my father's day and age, if he had a backache, he would put Iodex. What is the color of Iodex? Brown or black. You put your ganji on that or a shirt on that, it will show. So you won't put it and go to the office. Correct? Who came? Somebody else came and said, I can spray. So you go to the office, spray it, and it's not showing any color. Obviously, Iodex will lose. The relevance of the new need has to be met. What do all banks do now? They want WhatsApp banking, because I don't think any of the youngsters want to go to the bank.
Thank you.
Relevance. One word is relevance.
When do you see the next era of branding coming and how it will look like?
That's what I was telling you. Once AI comes, I'm not very sure.
2045?
No, it's 2029. But the fun part is there is a concept I've copyrighted called pseudo maturity. Pseudo maturity means that all levels of evolution of the market coexist. So from the outside it looks like in India it will take a long time compared to everybody else. I'll give you a simple example. How many brands of cars in India? Roughly 27. How many brands of cars in the US? 27. How many brands of cars in the UK? 27, roughly. So they are same. It looks like same, but it's not. How many cars per 1,000 in the US? Per 1,000 people, how many cars are there? 950. How many cars per 1,000 in UK? 850. How many cars per 1,000 in India? 22. So from 22 to 950 is the market. The same thing will apply to robotics, AI, everything. We might jump. Remember that we jumped from VHS directly to iPhones. So we might jump that way. But otherwise, most of the changes that are happening in any category will be much slower in India than anywhere else. Because there are so many crore people at the bottom who haven't been touched.
One thing interests is that the digital implants automatically scanning the lifestyle of the humans and making the purchase decisions.
Absolutely.
So the brands need to gear up for that. How to do that?
The brands need to gear up with products. That's what they will have to do. Let me see if I can use AI to shoot a picture of all of you. Hey Meta, shoot a photo. Got it. Now I shot a picture with my specs. Okay. You were saying something.
No, I was posting for You were talking about the ladder and the mind, right? I already have a ladder where I want to aspire, where I'm aspiring for something, as I progress with life. These are the brands now. How do you see those ladders in the minds of the younger generation? Is there a difference between what was and what is?
That's a good question. So the younger generation's ladder might shift very fast. So I have a Demat account. I'm 40 years old. I have a Demat account and I will try everything. Suddenly Grow comes and says you don't need any of this. Just go and buy mutual fund where you want it. I would not doubt that. If I'm younger, I would not doubt that as much as a 40-year-old. 40-year-old will say, "Paisa khatam hoga to kya hoga?" This fellow will say, "Let me experiment." So if you look at the younger generation's behavior, they take punts. 5 rupees here, 5 rupees there, 5 rupees there. Whichever grows, another 5 rupees there. It grows more, another 10 rupees there. So they experiment with brands much more than we did.
Therefore, how should brands be behaving?
In the long run, you will have to be, your product has to be savvier than, so SBI Life, which everybody thought was, a dinosaur compared to HDFC and ICICI, has caught up finally with YONO. They found something as relevant as anything else that HDFC and ICICI have created. SBI's market cap is now higher than HDFC.
It's very interesting that you say that the future of branding would be the product. The product would be the core and heart of it. But the irony is that product differentiation is at its lowest ever. As in, there used to be an iPhone and there used to be the others. But now, if you actually look at it, the iPhone isn't the best product in the market, whereas it's still managing to hold on because of the intangible. So, the product quantum leap, I think, is becoming longer and longer, and the differentiation has become almost negligible. So, how do you actually create perception difference when the tangible difference at the product level is less?
Yeah. If you all are interested in brands and not just in advertising, there are two books that have redefined branding in the past 10 years. There is one book called How Brands Grow, What Marketers Don't Know. This is created by the University of Adelaide, which has done research on brands, not research about brands, on brands, some 2,000 research papers. And there is another called The Long and the Short of It, which is from UK. They have used data from the effectiveness awards in the UK. There, their conclusion is between brand and tactics, between brand advertising and performance advertising, the split should be 60-40, roughly. In How Brands Go, What Marketers Don't Know, they are saying differentiation is not possible. What is possible is distinctiveness. So even today, Apple has that slight edge because it's distinctive. I was telling you about Fevicol. Fevicol is distinctive. It's not differentiated. There is nothing in it which is not there in every other good adhesive. So can you be distinctive? We created Atomberg. The Atomberg ad has twins. One is called Atom, the other is called Berg. This helped the dealer understand the brand name better. All their ads since 2023 have two people, one has Atom and the other has Berg. This is distinctive. It doesn't tell you that Atomberg is superior or differentiated, but you cannot but remember yellow black t-shirts worn by two people. It is also, obviously, it is also a differentiated product because it was the first to introduce BLDC, right? So distinctiveness, if you can build in, the differentiation, you are absolutely right. Anything that you make, China will make tomorrow. I'm not even sure that the planes I fly in are actual 320 made in Boeing or China has sent them. Dangerous.
Sir, I am Ram from a chemical company. I have, studied the one company, Ricky Bentis, who makes this Harpic and chlorine and all. They have one product, cough and collar, where they never advertise and all, but they sell in huge quantities.
Racket.
Ricky Bentis, yeah. So like that, there are a lot of, even this project in Hindustan, even, they came.
Harpic.
Harpic is recommended. They can done Domex.
Domex, yes.
Quality, was not so good, so they could not make it very popular compared to these people. Even though there are small brands available in the market, but since they are still the leading company, so the quality of the products, and one more thing also surprising, compared to, I just studied about 2000, sometime in 2000, where, Hindustan Universe, the turnover is about 10,500 crores, and they were making a profit of 2,500 crores. At that time, this Ricky Bentis was having a return of 5,000 crores and making profit of 2,500 crores. Even today, the technology has not reached, so that's a big advantage for them, and they're still one of the leading companies in their own market.
Yeah. Have you heard of a brand called Zara? What do you think its turnover is, roughly?
$3,000 million.
About $7 billion US dollars, right? This year. How much money have they spent on advertising? Normally, you in an FMCG company, you spend 5% of your, that is a thumb rule, 5% of your revenues. How much does Zara spend? At most, they spend on posters inside the showroom. So how is it $7 billion? If it is not advertising, how is it $7 billion?
In-store experience. Logistics.
In-store experience, product, one promise. They have one promise. Every 2 weeks, I will give you new fashion. Of course, currently they are being criticized because fast fashion ends up in landfills and it is anti-earth and all of that. So they are finding new ways of doing it. If you went to Spain, there is a company called Glenmark that I was rebranding and I had to present to their entire board. I was called to Madrid. If you go to Madrid, every Tuesday there will be a long queue out of Zara because the new fashion has come. There is no advertising required. Everybody knows that every 2 weeks new fashion will be available, and whatever I couldn't buy last time will not be available now. One single promise, that's it.
Sir, in the era of AI, what does the brand promise? In the era of AI.
In the era of
AI, so Facebook. What is the use of brand promise? Maybe it is going to look behind the product about the
yes.
product, right?
You know this guy, Food Farmer. How many of you have heard of Food Farmer? Food Farmer that is what he does. He looks at the back of the pack and explains to you that they are all telling lies. He forced Bonvita to change the back of the pack. Forced them.
The campaign.
Yeah. So that is what I'm saying, that in the era of AI and the brands will have to make better and better products.
Just a follow-up question for Pharma. But he has launched his own brand.
Yes.
Right? So influencers also, who started and then they launched their own brand.
Yes.
What do you see how they go? Because
Same.
it's just, I'm very curious.
Same principle. Same principle. If you do not live up to your promise, that brand will be over. So, Mr. Virat Kohli has his brand called Wrong. Deepika Padukone has her brand something. Somebody else has their brand. What did you start with? What was the promise? And are you living up to it? Who's that famous actress in the West? I forget it. She started her brand saying, my brand is for black skin. End of story. Who's it?
Fenty Beauty. Fenty.
Fendi. Whatever, but I'm saying that is the promise. You move away from that promise. This idea of living up to a promise is what makes a brand. Have you heard of a football club called Barcelona? Barcelona says, I am committed to Catalonia. Catalonia is a part of Spain. I want to see Catalonia free. There was a final match which was being held on a Saturday. They went to the federation and said, can you hold it on a Sunday? They said, why? They said, on this Saturday, particular Saturday, millions of people are going to vote to make Catalonia free. The federation said, I'm very sorry, I can't shift it from Saturday to Sunday. Barcelona said, okay, we will play the match in an empty stadium. How much money do you get out of this stadium? Said $6 million. Here is $6 million. Because we want our fans not to attend the football match. We want them to go and vote for Catalonia. Now that is a brand which is saying, I will live up to this.
You have to do it. Yes. Come. What is the date?
Oh, brilliant.
And so was the presentation.
Huh?
So was the presentation.
Yes. Thank you. It's a good reminder of my age. Thank you.
So that's the front pages of
22 on the day Kiran was born. So, thanks everyone for enjoying our discussion.
Thank you very much.
I'll request Umar to this proposal formal word of thanks.
Thank you. So we should thank the school teacher and also the housemaster who left his teaching job. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you.
TED Talk always features speakers from the various corners, and this one was special because on the branding front actually. So you have taken us through the 4 different era of branding.
Correct.
And gave some glimpses about the future of the branding too. It was really enlightening, and thank you, Kiran. How you got this spider named after you? Can you just tell us the interesting story?
Yes. So spiders as a species have a problem. What you call morphology. From the outside you can't tell the species. You have to dissect the spider and look at its private parts. That is what decides what that species is. So my wife is a naturalist. She had a young friend who was in college, and this dissecting the spider is extremely painful. You are bent like this and using tiny pins to do that dissection. So I bought him a microscope that shot pictures as he was dissecting. So he never lost information. As luck would have it, the next year he found 3 spiders. New species. One he named after me, one after my wife, and one after his friend. So that is how 3
Thanks for the wonderful piece of information. With that, the evening comes to an end, and we look forward to bring you more wonderful guests to you from the Advertising Club Madras. And next, we have the privilege of announcing upcoming speakers this time, because we have already lined up Mr. K.V. Sridhar, is ops for the upcoming session of TED Talk. Followed by, in October, we are having Josie Paul, sharing his knowledge in this session of TED Talk. So please gear up for yourself. You please block the date around, keep yourself free the 3rd week of the months to come. And I request all to get yourself, your membership renewed in the club. Maybe the colleagues might have said, but it is still, we are trying our best to put the best things out for you, but only the renewal of the membership timely, that keeps the club going. And please ensure, if it is a corporate, get it done at a corporate level, and if it is an individual, be part of the ecosystem. We are putting in so many good efforts, bringing in best of the minds like Kiran, and to experience it, you just need to do is becoming a member. We are advertising all others, and here is one place where we are enriching ourselves in terms of knowledge, networking, and the community as a community. So it's something that we need to enrich ourselves. So thank you all for this, making yourself, and looking forward to engaging you in fantastic more sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.